I think I know what you guys have been doing. Have you been looking out the window? And what do you see? Well, I think there's lots of things going on outside that window. And maybe, right, somebody's popping popcorn somewhere. So maybe you guys ought to stand up, pause the video, and sing popcorn popping on the apricot tree for your parents. That's what you should do right now. So pause the video, and then after you come back, after you sing the song for your parents, we will get into an Easter message for you. Hi everybody. We're here with our Easter tie on for an Easter message, and I got a nice message for you today. I just couldn't help myself. I had to come. I know I said that your parents were going to teach the lesson for Easter, but I just had to tell you a story, and I hope you really like a story. Because you know what? Easter's about a lot of different things. But I'm going to tell you one about a lamb. Not a bunny, but a lamb. Didn't we have a great general conference all about the celebration of the first vision? Oh, I just loved it. And we learned so many things, like brand new temples, one even in China. And then there was the new emblem or logo for the church, and then all the general authorities and the prophets spoke, and the apostles. It was a really good general conference. And then, you know what else we did? We learned from our prophet. We learned that on Good Friday, which was just a couple days ago, that we were going to do a fast, and we did that too. That was a wonderful experience to pray for the world, that Jesus would be our healer, healing the world from the coronavirus. Okay, here's the board this week. It's got Easter colors on it and some really fantastic pictures. I just love all these pictures. And guess what? I did 2 different boards. Here's the second one. It's the puzzle. Jesus is the... And there are the vowels there. You can see, and by the end of the day, you'll probably figure out what the puzzle is, because I've got some great stories that'll help you to solve that puzzle. Sister Parker did me a favor. She drew for me a lamb. Wait, that's not a lamb. That's Sister Parker. Oh, now she's drawn a lamb for my story. This is my bummer lamb story. As you might know, I was raised on a farm in Wyoming, and we had sheep. And during lambing season, sometimes we'd get a bummer lamb, which just means that the mom rejected the lamb for some reason or another. This could be for maybe the mom didn't have enough milk, or maybe even the mom died, which was sad, and that meant we had to take that little lamb inside to keep it warm by the fire. My dad usually had a really big box and would put that little small lamb into that big box, and it was my job to feed the lamb. We used these small 7-Up bottles, just like this picture, and then would fill it up with milk that my dad would mix with cow's milk and with powdered milk from the feed store. We would put on top of it the bottle a nipple, and that's how the lamb drank. Just like this nipple here, would put it on top of the bottle and feed the lamb. I remember one lamb was so weak that it could not even hold its head up to drink from the bottle. I worried about my lamb every night. when I went to bed. I'd wondered if I was able to feed it enough so that in the morning it would still be alive. So I made several attempts each day and each night until that lamb could hold its head up on its own. And I was so happy about that lamb being able to drink the milk by itself. Then it would get stronger and stronger, and we would move it back outside into the barn where I still had the chore of feeding my lamb until it could finally start eating the hay and the grass in the field. I loved my lamb. I had such a fun time feeding my lamb and helping it and watching it grow. Then each time when I went out into the field, I could see my lamb and it could see me. Every time I went out to feed the sheep, my lamb would come running up to me. I felt so blessed to have the experience of taking care of that lamb. It taught me about caring for something besides myself. It made me think about Jesus and how he was rejected of his people. Kind of like how the lamb was rejected. So he was rejected of his people in Jerusalem, and it was his sacrifice in the garden and on the cross that did so much for us. He died on that cross, but then 3 days later, he was resurrected and came forth out of the tomb. Can you see on my picture here? Can you see the tomb? Can you see the light coming out of the tomb? This is a fun picture that my mom gave me. And because he came out of the tomb and he was resurrected, that means all of us will be resurrected as well. He is our eternal good shepherd, now and forever. Can I share just one more story with you? This is a fun story that I found online. It's from the Book of Mormon channel. It's called Book of Mormon Central. And this is about a father and his little boy. I hope you enjoy it.
My wife and I taught our children these different events and had pictures of the different stories lined up with tape on the wall. And we tried to help our children understand the significance of each day. And it was a wonderful experience of many years ago when one of our sons, Jacob, he was a young child at the time, it was actually Easter morning, Sunday morning, our little Jarrett was a baby at the time, began crying in his crib. It was early Sunday morning. I don't know the exact time, but the light was just barely starting to come from the east. And I went into their bedroom, the boy's bedroom, to comfort little Jarrett. And I picked him up and started dancing with him to calm him down. And I looked up onto the bunk bed and noticed that my Jacob was sitting up in bed leaning against the wall. And it kind of took me back. I was kind of a little bit scared, to be honest with you, at first. It's like, wait, what are you doing? I said, Jacob, what's going on? And he said, Dad, do you think Jesus is resurrected by this time on Easter? And I thought, yeah. According to John's account, he rose while Mary goes to the tomb while it was yet dark. I said, yeah, I'll bet he's resurrected by now. And little Jacob said, oh, good. I wanted to be awake when Jesus was resurrected. I wanted to be able to think about that.
Wasn't that a fun story? I just love that little story about a boy who wanted to be awake when Jesus was resurrected. So we're going to go back to the board, see if you solved the puzzle. Jesus is the, did you get it? Lamb of God. Jesus is the Lamb of God. I wanted to say Happy Easter to all of you. And remember that Easter isn't about a bunny. It's about a lamb. Oh, and don't forget, next week Jesus will be working with a wonderful king by the name of King Benjamin. Make sure you're up to speed on your reading. Mosiah chapters 1 through 3. That's what's going to be next week. We'll see you next week.